Georgia and Auburn. There's been so much talk between, whether it's Hugh Freeze talking about how fast Kirby did or didn't get things turned around at Georgia, what the expectations should be at Auburn by the fan base and people like that, and where this roster's at for Auburn. Should there be, is this a hate rivalry? Do people, hate each other in this rivalry? All this kind of nonsense. But what it's going to come down to is when it's 3:30 on the Plains in Auburn, you have a much, much more talented Georgia team taking on an Auburn team that is searching for an identity offensively. Okay, what this would mean for Georgia, this doesn't mean anything for Georgia in terms of, you should win the football game, and you should win it comfortably. It was 16.5. As you see, when I put this graphic up originally, made this a couple of days ago, now it's dropped down to 14.5. Is that just being, on the road, things like that? I could think you could see some movement the other way, because it certainly is sounding from Kirby Smart like you're going to get Mykel Williams and Javon Bullard back on defense, and you're probably going to get Kendall Milton and Ladd McConkey back on offense. And Ladd McConkey has not played this year, Georgia's best receiver, and Georgia is averaging 500 yards per game. Yes, Georgia has started slow, particularly in that South Carolina game, was very slow. But I think we've seen now that Spencer Rattler is playing as good as any quarterback in the country, okay, particularly with what he has around him. Now, Xavier Leggett is a stud. He's at 6'3", 227-pound Learjet that's just splitting his way through defenses. He is a stud. But still, Georgia showed resolve. They came back. They were able to step on the gas pedal when they needed to. Georgia, you got to realize, has lost 26 guys to the NFL draft in the last 2 years. That is a record by far. Nobody has ever done that. Okay, they set a single record, 15 guys alone in the 2022 NFL draft after that 2021 football season. And in these matchups, understand that Auburn is going to have some success early. I was there covering the game on the sideline, watched Bo Nix with Mike Bobo as his offensive coordinator under Brian Harsin march right down the field, score a touchdown that was called back because of a penalty, end up kicking a field goal against Georgia in that game at Auburn, because it's Jordan-Hare. Auburn's fans are great. They make a lot of noise, okay? And when they're going to be able to do some things in this game. They practice too, okay? Now, the problem for Auburn is that in the last 5 Power 5 games, dating back to last year, they have not had a quarterback throw for 100 yards. They have abysmal quarterback play. Against Cal, it was 94 yards. Against Texas A&M, it was 56 yards. I mean, it is ridiculous, the lack of production that Auburn has when it comes to passing the football. I mean, it's pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic. So right now, if you're Georgia, what does Georgia do better than anybody in the country? They take away the running game. Okay, you are not going to be able to create running lanes unless you do some misdirection and things like that. Catch them off guard every once in a while. But Georgia is elite at stopping the run, particularly when they have Javon Bullard and Mykel Williams back, because Javon Bullard plays, he can play the star position, he can play the safety position, he helps fit and force the run. And then, of course, Mykel Williams at that jack or defensive end, whichever one he's playing, depending on what front they are in. Jamon Dumas-Johnson and Smile Munden, elite at linebacker position. And, of course, they've got talented guys everywhere else, 4- and 5-star guys everywhere else. So what this means for Georgia is that, are you meeting the Georgia standard? Plain and simple. Back-to-back national champions, 26 guys gone to the NFL in the last 2 years, new guys in some of those roles. Are you meeting the standard? Are you getting up to where Georgia knows they should be and how they play a football game? That is it. That is what this means, okay? Nothing more, nothing less. Are you elite like you are supposed to be elite? Is the talent there? Nobody's going to make any excuses for Georgia. We know the talent's there. Is the execution there? That is what this means for Georgia. What this would mean for Auburn, if Auburn were to shock the world and win this game, this would mean that Hugh Freeze is about to become an absolute menace in recruiting. He's already flipped 2 guys from Georgia. Okay, they've got another guy they're bringing in that is from Moultrie, Georgia, Naikar, who just decommitted from Georgia. He's going to be at this game for Auburn as a recruit. Okay, they've flipped a guy, a big receiver, 5-star receiver from Alabama already in this recruiting cycle. Hugh Freeze has the Auburn recruiting machine up and rolling, and this would just throw gasoline on the fire. Okay, this is all about showing that your vision as a staff can work, and not only making these current players on the team believe and buy in even more, but it's going to make recruits around the country buy in even more if they are just competitive in this game. If it's a one-score game in the fourth quarter and Auburn's got a chance with the ball, then every eye in the country is going to be glued on CBS trying to see, hey, one or the mighty Bulldogs going to fall down. Can Auburn and Hugh Freeze pull this thing off? I do not see how they find enough offense or enough. They magically start playing better at quarterback against what is probably the best defense in the entire country. I mean, got all 3 All-American potential guys in the secondary, got a couple All-American potential guys up front in that front 7. It's just a tall task for Peyton Thorne and Robbie Ashford when they have not been playing very well. They've got Damari Alston, who I think is their most consistent back, out with a shoulder injury on the secondary. They've got a couple injuries, a couple guys banged up. Their starting linebacker, Austin Keys, went out with a thumb injury. So that's what it would mean for both sides. What it's going to take for Auburn is going to be being able to maybe some trick plays, maybe dialing up some things early. They're going to scheme up, give Georgia problems. Hugh Freeze is as good as anybody, and being able to capitalize on those when you have them, hitting some open guys when you have those opportunities. And then they're going to have to force some turnovers. They do force a lot of turnovers. Auburn does. They've forced 8 on the year. You can see that they're working on, punching that ball out. It's a concerted effort. It's not just something that happens. They work on that to be able to try to do it. So Auburn's going to have to force turnovers. Georgia if they play clean, they'll win this game. Okay, if they play clean, they handle the crowd noise early and prevent Auburn from getting some kind of surge early because of that crowd noise and capitalizing on it. Don't have a whole lot of penalties, then Georgia will win this football game and win it easily. But that's what it would mean for both teams, and that's how they would go about doing it.